Some mornings you wake up, get your favorite morning beverage, and catch up on the news and kind of ease into the day. Other days you hit the ground running. That was us today. We've already broken a story. Do we have more breaking news? Find out next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Yeah, and if you weren't up early enough to see the emergency podcast, you've no doubt seen it on the social media feeds, the news that Jeff Wilson broke today, and I'm so glad to see most of the the reports giving Jeff credit for breaking the story, but Mike Maddux is out. It's a story he's been working for a few weeks now, and it came to fruition really late last night.
It did, and we've been in contact with some coaches here. It's kind of a story that needs to be reported, and I know the Rangers want to assemble their staff and then release it to everybody. But as the month went along, and all these coaches become free agents after today. The contracts expire today, and they need to get moving. They need job security. Some of these guys don't need job security, but they love the jobs and want to keep doing it. And so this stuff was bound to happen, and the Rangers knew that. But it was, I had actually gone to bed last night when I received a text message about the Maddux news, and so I fought off the restlessness that it caused, and then fell asleep and got up and made a couple quick phone calls and text messages, and I think that the team expected that the news of this magnitude would come out. I think they probably were told a few days ago that this was going to happen. I don't think Mike was going to blindside them. He's a pro, and he appreciates what the Rangers have done for him and his career, and it's just the right thing to do, to let them know his plans so that they can then make their plans. But it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see, the Rangers did offer him a contract. Was it a contract that he wanted? Did they make him a contract they knew that he wouldn't accept? And why, if you wanted to keep the guy, would you allow another team would you grant permission for another team to talk to him?
Right.
So there are a couple things that are worth further explanation, and I'm sure that in the coming days and weeks, more stuff will come out. But it's news, and it's out there now, and the club. I think if it had been the afternoon, wouldn't have said anything, because the World Series is resuming tonight, and of course there's it's the golden cow of the MLB, and Rob Manfred doesn't want anything disrupting that or taking attention away from it. But it's not our fault the news breaks on days of World Series games.
And it was news that was likely about to break from the Los Angeles side,
right.
Because Mike was getting closer to getting a deal done with the Angels, and excuse me, as you said, kind of pulling back the curtain on how some of these things happen in the emergency pod. You revealed the fact that since they're under contract, if anybody wants to talk to any of the Rangers assistant coaches, any other team has to ask for permission. Presumably, they ask that of CY, but somebody in the front office must give the okay for them to talk to any. And they gave permission to the Angels to do that. And T.O. brought this up. I said it on the emergency pod earlier. Just as a human being, if I'm sitting there and I think the Rangers want me, I'm pretty sure they do. All indications are that they do. But then they give permission. I mean, I don't know. You're Mike Maddux. You know how it works. They give permission. I'm like, I don't know that they really do want me, right? I at least have enough doubt in my head that I'm going to see what Los Angeles has in mind.
Yeah, and again, if you still want to do it, and if you think you might be going back to the Rangers, you've talked to a couple of the guys, the principals in the situation, but you haven't heard anything for a couple weeks, it makes you kind of wonder. And so yeah, you kind of have to protect yourself, and you never know what they're going to offer. And maybe Artie Moreno opened up his checkbook for Mike Maddux.
Yes, there's a report out of Los Angeles that he did that he's overpaying for a guy that they believe. In this report I saw from one of the beat writers in Los Angeles, they believe they can consider Mike Maddux one of the top 3 pitching coaches in the game, which is true, maybe the top pitching coach in the game. And so Artie was willing to sort of step up. They were nobody in LA gives Artie Moreno credit for much, right? And rightly. However, he was getting credit, as they said in this piece, where credit is due for stepping up to get Mike Maddux, and that's certainly whoever wrote that is right? That's a really good hire.
Yeah, it is, and a lot of times Artie's overpaid. You can look at past player contracts,
sure,
and Josh Hamilton, C.J. Wilson, things like that. Albert Pujols, he probably overpaid, but the point is that Mike Maddux isn't here now, so who then becomes the pitching coach? And we said that we would speak to that a little bit, during the emergency pod, and I think you start with the remaining,
the incumbents,
if you will, the guys who are still on the staff. Jordan Teagues, who's the bullpen coach, former minor league pitching coordinator, who has had his hands on all of these young guys, and was instrumental in the Jack Leiter development. And then Dave Bush, who's a former big league pitching coach,
Red Sox,
with the Red Sox. It didn't go well, but again, that may not be his fault necessarily, depending on the talent and the injuries and whatnot. So anyway, I would start with those two, and I believe they're under contract. And then it's like, well, I don't know. You kind of look at who was Skip Schumacher's pitching coach in Miami. It was Mel Stottlemyre Jr.
Right.
And don't be fooled by the junior. He's as old as Mike Maddux. He's 63. All right. And he's been, according to Instagram, he runs a fishing guide service in southeastern Washington, near Oregon and Pendleton, and I don't know, is that the Columbia River down there?
Yes.
One of the rivers. And, so he's been out of the game for a year. Seems like he might be settled in here to retirement, but you never know. That's somebody, I went back and read the chat from the emergency pod, and somebody said Adam Wainwright. Well, that's pretty interesting.
Be a great one. Yeah.
But I mean, he's honestly, who was one of his last pitching coaches in St. Louis? Mike Maddux.
Yeah, true.
So you're going to get a lot of Mike Maddux if you get Adam Wainwright. And that's not a bad thing.
No,
right?
and Skip was with him too in St. Louis.
Right, for sure.
And Wainwright is considered that guy regarding, relationships with players and we're as a leader in the clubhouse when he was in St. Louis. I mean, he's revered. That said, he played in an era where I'm not sure, and it's not the only factor, but not sure he needs the money.
Right,
so,
exactly.
So there's a decision there.
But he's been on the some broadcasts. He's been part of the broadcast teams for the postseason with him and Francoeur and Brian Anderson.
Yeah,
and I mean they're both. Well, Francoeur is knowledgeable, but so is Wainwright, and that'd be an interesting one. It really would be. And I'm assuming that they have a relationship, he and Skip, and trust each other. So I really don't know. Curiously, there are still two teams playing in baseball. The season's not over, though it could be tonight. Is there anybody on those pitching staffs or on those coaching staffs that that the Rangers are waiting to talk to, and that's another possibility. I'll be honest, I don't know the Blue Jays pitching coach. Mark Pryor is the Dodgers pitching coach, and I kind of doubt that he's going to go anywhere. And one name that just came to mind that might be of interest is Oscar Marin. He was the Pirates pitching coach, and everybody was very surprised when Oscar got let go this year. Oscar is a former Rangers minor league pitching coach and was really, really well liked, and then eventually went to, I believe, the Mariners organization, possibly the big league staff, and he has big league pitching coach experience. And he's a good guy. I remember Oscar very well, a really nice guy, and a lot of the people in high positions in the Rangers front office were there when Oscar was with the organization. So that's another name maybe to keep an eye on as we try to sort this one out.
Pete Walker, the longest tenured pitching coach for one team currently in all of baseball, is with the Toronto Blue Jays. Been there since 2002.
Oh, man,
I think
Pete.
it said. Yeah.
Serious?
2002? Did that what it said? Yeah. He's been with the organization since 2002, and he became the pitching coach in 2009. So still
that's a long time.
Yeah, still a long time.
Pistol Pete Walker. All right.
Oh, Pistol Pete ain't going. He ain't going anywhere, man. He needs his Tim Hortons, right? He needs
That's
his
right.
Tim Hortons
He's
coffee
pretty
and his
in.
donuts and
poutine or whatever it's called.
Yeah, the poutine. Well, you know what? The Thanksgiving poutine. Of course, that's past for them now. Thanksgiving's in October for them. But anyway, yeah. So that's. But I love your idea. I think it's gonna be someone we don't know, and this was another week because of absences on MLB radio that Lance Lynn was on a lot, and every name that comes up, right, for any potential managerial job or anything like that, Lance crossed paths with him. And so it just reminded me how, and the same thing happened with Skip, right?
Yeah.
There's so many people out there. We're trying to think about, okay, well, who was he with before? And who were, Mel Stottlemyre Jr. was his pitching coach, this, that, and the other. The thing is, he's encountered so many people in his career, including Adam Wainwright. So I love that, that name being thrown out there. Yeah. But, he really could pick somebody we had no idea was even an option.
For sure.
And I think, that's the one thing about all of this. I mean, I don't like that Mike Maddux is gone. Heck, we didn't like that Bruce Bochy was gone, right? Not really thrilled that Bobby Wilson is gone. All that said, and I don't know if this is necessarily a Schumacher sort of ordained thing, or like he's trying to do this, attempting to do this, but he should be allowed to have his own coaches if he wants to have his own coaches.
No,
now,
that's a fair point. Yeah.
I do believe, based on the conversation we had with him on the day that he was announced as the manager, that he had tremendous respect, and they had a working relationship, he and Mike Maddux, and I believe he had tremendous respect for Mike. But
and Mike likes Skip.
Yeah. So anyway, it broke down, and the reality is, according to sources, and you can see this in Jeff's article, sources indicate that a Rangers offer, which did come, but it didn't come until after, according to Jeff's sources, it didn't come until after the Angels had made their offer. So that's sort of closing the barn door after the horse is already running down the road.
Yeah. And again, these things will all come out. And I saw in the chat while they were talking about, I think Gallagher Champ asked, well, why do you make an offer? And the answer that, I don't know if it was UTO who produced it, but it's like it's a PR thing. And yeah, I mean, the Rangers were very quick to say, yeah, they made him an offer and he declined it. So anyway, what's done is done, and it's we can revisit it when the time when new light is shed on it.
Yeah, because when
new light will be shed on it.
Sure, when the Rangers announced their assistant coaches, which should be now, next week for sure, or the week after at the absolute latest, we'll be asking those questions, right? Those are questions that we're going to ask. The question that you're asking now, and we've already mulled and have planned to talk about in the next segment is, so who else might not be here next year? We've already been surprised. Who else might be on the way out the door? We'll talk about that next. The DLLS Rangers podcast. Oh, and it's time to use and to talk about one of our great new sponsors, which is PNC Bank. PNC Bank is all about long-term growth. It takes patience to have long-term growth financially. It takes commitment to have long-term growth financially. It takes both of those things to have success in Major League Sports, too. You know, as the Rangers demonstrated so well when they won the World Series in 2023 for the first time. Heck, the Blue Jays are demonstrating that this year. They haven't won a World Series in 32 years. So if they win, you know, that'll be the poster child of commitment and patience. And it's also prevalent in hockey, especially hockey hair. And so PNC Bank is diving in to this hockey hair idea, recognizing the value of long-term growth in both money and in hockey hair. So you can pick up your Dallas Stars hockey hair hat pregame at the PNC Plaza. Compliments of PNC Bank. That's November 4th and 6th. PNC's pop-up Main Station Street brand.
No sooner, John, did Qualis Roofing join us yesterday, than yesterday afternoon after the show, a roofer came a knocking on our door.
Did they really?
Maybe we missed a hailstorm. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that they weren't from Qualis. And here's why Qualis is for you. 700 five-star reviews, an average rating of 4.9. One of the most trusted names in roofing across North Texas and in Austin. Homeowners, business owners like John constantly praise Qualis for their honesty, their follow-through, and their quality workmanship. Whether it's your home or business, Qualis has you covered, literally. They specialize in residential and commercial. Schedule a free roof inspection and get a free DLLS shirt. So call or go online to schedule your free roof inspection, and don't forget to ask about that free shirt. QualisGC.com. Yes,
great idea. Couple more things, about as we continue to talk through Mike Maddux being out as the pitching coach. I mean, one thing we all must remember. Now, Mike Maddux was, the pitching coach for the team that had the best ERA in baseball, right? So that's there. That's truth. That happened. But you don't have the best ERA in baseball just because of a coach, right? If Mike Maddux had different pitchers, inferior pitchers, they wouldn't have had the best ERA in baseball. It's not all on the coach, right? Yeah. It starts with talent, and any manager, any coach will tell you that. I'm a better manager, I'm a better coach when I have better players, right? It's one of the maxims of being a head coach. So, it's not like the Rangers pitching staff is going to go down the tubes just because Mike Maddux is gone. However, I believe that Mike had a tremendous, he was like a pitcher whisperer in a way, and had a tremendous effect on guys. And I brought this up to Jeff before the show, guys like Patrick Corbin. He hadn't had a good year in half a decade, really. Yeah. He'd been really bad in the 20s. And he got here and he was good. He was way better than he'd been any year since 2019.
Right.
Now, how much of that is just him saying, "Oh my gosh, I better step it up"? And how much of that is sort of the way Mike Maddux discusses things, talks to him, helped him, those kinds of things.
Well, and Chris Young said this at the season-ending press conference. He said the thing that he admires the most about Mike Maddux is his ability to make the pitchers believe in themselves and to pitch with conviction. And, that's not all that Mike does, but
the big one.
And even Michael say, I remember his very first, in 2009, thing he said is, we're going to pitch with conviction. We're going to trust our stuff. We're going to throw a pitch and believe that we're going to execute it. And so that's where it starts. Now he's fantastic with scouting reports. He will break down an opposing lineup, and and if you follow it, you're going to have some success. He believes in pitchers fielding practice and fielding your position.
Pitchers hate pitchers fielding practice.
And his little brother, as he calls him, Greg, has 18 Gold Gloves. All right, so if a Maddux says, "Hey, you need to be better at fielding your position," I'm thinking you should probably listen.
Probably a good idea.
So there are a whole bunch of things that were part of the package, and are part of the package that now the Angels will benefit from. But it's not like these Rangers pitchers are just going to suddenly forget what they learned from Mike Maddux. We've talked about the two great ones, Eovaldi and DeGrom. Jack Leiter and how much improvement he made this season, which I'm sure was partly due to Mike Maddux, and some of it I'm sure was due to Jordan Teagues, with whom, as we've pointed out and as was said in the chat, they have a pretty close, tight-knit coach-to-player relationship. And even Dave Bush, some of the analytics guys, Brandon Segura, with the way he comes up with pitch shapes and stuff like that. Cole Winn has talked about that. Jake Latz is a big one. Jake Latz, at the end of the year, after every outing, was talking about Mike Maddux and just how it's one pitch at a time and all of this stuff. So there you go. I mean, this guy's going to be missed. There's no question about it. And so we talked about who might replace him and all this stuff, but this coaching staff is still uncertain at this point.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We don't know who is going to replace Mike Maddux, and we don't know for sure who else is going to be replaced. But the fact that Mike Maddux is gone makes me think, because, again, he was the one that I just thought, I heard CY, we talked to Skip. I mean, there's no way Maddux is on the way out the door, right? And yet he is. So I'm not sure about anybody else right now, Jeff.
No, I think there are guys who are under contract, and of course you can break the contracts and all of that stuff.
Yeah, but they'll probably honor the contract.
like Justin Veely, I guess the hitting coach was his title is hitting coach.
Yeah,
he signed a deal to leave the Giants and join the Rangers last offseason to coach alongside his buddy Donnie Eckert, who was then summarily fired in early May. I would very much expect Justin to be back.
What kind of contract did Brett Boone have? Do we know?
It was just through the end of the year.
Okay,
it was just through the end of the year, and I don't know that he's going to be back. I would be more surprised if he returns than if he doesn't at this rate. So then it's like Corey Ragsdale. I bet Corey Ragsdale is back. He was a former minor league manager of the year by Baseball America. I don't remember the year, but I wrote the story. So I think he'll be back just because, he has deep ties in player development. That's at his core, and that's what Chris Young said would be a characteristic of the new manager. And then I think it would then trickle down to the staff. That's why I think Jordan Teagues will be back.
Yep.
Not just because he knows the ins and outs of Jack Leiter, but he dealt with Cole Winn during Cole's struggles at AAA after being the minor league pitcher of the year and after his great, I think, 22 season at Frisco. Might have been 21. The years are flying by at this rate. In any event, there are a lot of young pitchers who Jordan Teagues has had his hands on. And so I think that that'll be a kind of a no-brainer. I bet Brett Hayes is back. Brett, the jack of all trades kind of guy on the coaching staff. We know that Luis Urieta is going to be back as bench coach.
Yep.
Skip said that. Yeah. Skip has already declared that one.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, are they going to hire somebody above Veely or somebody who will be right there with him? Seth Connor, the assistant hitting coach, will he be back? Will Dave Bush be back? Yeah, there's just a lot of questions that there are no answers to, and some of it, I think, is that the Rangers are a little bit hamstrung by the fact that the World Series is still going on.
Yes.
And the fear that the commissioner puts in teams for announcing anything, especially on days of games. I I think that the Rangers were hesitant to even respond to my inquiries early this morning. They did, but I think they were a little hesitant to do so just because of the World Series thing. So we'll see. I think early next week they'll have this thing ironed out, or at least some of it. They got to announce some of it, and if they haven't told guys yet, then shame on them.
A, and B, if you're a guy who hasn't been told anything, and I'm sure this is true, it's probably a pretty good idea to be checking other organizations if you still want to coach, right? I mean, if you still want to coach, you might just kind of throw your, work your sources, work your friends, and find out if anybody else out there might be interested in me because, here it is, October 31st, and I haven't heard anything from the Rangers yet.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So, and I kind of know one that isn't going to be back, but I'm trying to nail that one down for sure. I don't want to say anything just yet. So anyway, it's a tough time. It's a tough situation, and Skip, to his credit, it's like, God, I hate this. I hate these conversations.
Sure.
But he also understands the importance. And this was October 10th when we had him right after his introductory press conference. October 10th was 3 weeks ago today.
Yep.
And in a business where time is everything, I would hope that he would let them know as soon as possible.
Yep, I do too, which could be as soon as really tomorrow if the World Series ends tonight. And truthfully, it probably should be. I mean, I don't know. I guess they don't have to know tomorrow, even though their contract expires today, if they're getting another contract with the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, but they can go out and certainly they can go talk. No, clubs don't have to ask permission
anymore. Yeah, you're a free agent.
Yeah, exactly.
As it were. So, Anyway, that's where the rest of this coaching staff stands right now. And again, you go back to that point. I know somebody just threw the Cowboys in the chat, Kelly man. But we all when Jerry hired Bum Phillips kid Wade Phillips, he had already put Jason Garrett in place with a contract that, as the offensive coordinator, with a contract that I might have exceeded Phillips, right? And so and we are all like, are you kidding me? The guy doesn't even get to hire his own offensive, right? So we're critical of that. And so we probably have to be, on the other side, okay, well, this coach, manager in this case, should be, allowed to get his people around him. And that, theoretically, Jeff, that creates the best environment for success for Skip Schumacher, which is what we want, right? We want Skip Schumacher's regime to be as successful as it can possibly be. And likely, the best environment for that is an environment of people that he is super comfortable. And that's what he will try to hire.
Yeah, as much as I like Mike Maddux, I've known him since he was hired. I think it was right after the 2008 season. I remember interviewing him in the first base dugout at the old ballpark. He seemed surprised to know that I knew his brother was from San Angelo, born in San Angelo. Anyway, we've been pretty good friends since then. And to answer an earlier question, my Starbucks order is vanilla sweet cream cold brew. Got it? Okay. Yeah.
There it is. Yeah.
So, Kennedy Landry put me on to that drink, and so now they're 200 calories at this size, and so I try to be mindful of that.
Yeah, that's a lot of.
Damn, they're good.
Yeah, there's a lot of calories in there. And by the way, speaking of Bum Phillips, which I only did trying to remember Wade's name, I just happened.
He said Bum Phillips' boy. Yeah. It's like, God dang it, John, how old are we?
I know. But anyway, oh, Bum. Anyway, I happened to come across something on one of the socials today, and it just reminded Bum Phillips. They asked him right after he retired, said, "So now that you're retired, Bum, what are you doing?" I'm not doing nothing at all, and I don't start that till noon.
Yeah.
So I like Bum. He's a pretty funny guy.
Well, then he had another line, like, I guess that Earl Campbell, they had to run the mile at training camp, and Earl, like, didn't finish it or came in last, and somebody asked him about it. He's like, well, if Earl ever has to run for a mile, let me know, or I'll let you know, or something like that. It was like,
exactly. We're not worried about
it was
Earl.
like, it was very funny.
Yeah. So, all right. Off the football talk for a minute, and let us. Oh, look at they're putting. Oh, there it is. Cat put it out there for TO. So now you know the order. It's there. It's in print. More coming up. Let's talk about Game 6 tonight. It's the World Series. It could end tonight. It's been really fun, really exciting. I'm sure that will continue tonight, and frankly, maybe even tomorrow. Let's talk about it next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And it's time to talk about my favorite shades, Shady Rays. What a great day this is, because it's shacket and shorts weather. Hang on.
Oh, boy.
Shacket and shorts weather is like my favorite, right? It's chilly enough to wear the shacket, but it's not so cold that you feel uncomfortable in shorts, and it's sunny, which means when we leave here, I pop on the Shady Rays, and I'm headed to go hang out with the granddaughter for Halloween tonight. She's 10 months old, so we'll go to 2 or 3 houses, and I'll carry her probably.
Yeah.
And then everybody will ooh and ah how cute she is, and then we're back to the house. And anyway, until it gets dark for trick-or-treating, I'll be wearing the Shady Rays. You should get yourself a pair, too. Shady Rays are great, and you can get 35% off polarized sunglasses at shadyrays.com with the code DLLS.
You know, if you're a cop, if you're dressed up as a cop, your aviators would be perfect.
That's right.
All right. Game time. I really feel bad taking game time and
with Nicole.
Shady Rays and your relationship with Nicole. I feel like I'm intruding here. Anyway, game
Not
time.
cheating on your Nicole. Yeah.
Game time has been with us for a long, long time. They are a ticket app. If you need tickets on the secondary market and you can't find them anywhere else, Game Time's the place to go. You download that app of theirs, and with your first purchase, use the code DLS to get 20% off. Terms apply. It's not baseball season. Well, it is for at least one more day, but it's not in these parts. It is hockey season. It is Mavs basketball season. And yeah, the Cowboys are still playing games, as futile as it might seem. Anyway, if you want tickets to any of those, download the Game Time app. 20% off your first purchase with the code DLLS. All
right. So it is Game 6 of the World Series tonight. Man, it's going to be cool. It's going to be really fun. It's a rematch, Jeff, of was that game 2? 3? 2. 2. Yamamoto against Gausman. And Yamamoto, as we know, he threw a complete game, his second straight complete game in this postseason. The previous one, of course, this was game 2 here, so it was in the NLCS against the Brewers. But he's pitching unlike he has in the United States, right? He's pitching better than at any point since he's been to the U.S.
Yeah, and I think to this point, to make the point I was making with Fergie the other day when you and I have talked, is these guys are capable of complete games. The teams that don't let him do it. Well, now there's nothing to lose. Like, he doesn't have another start coming up on Wednesday.
Right.
This is it. I would expect that if Yamamoto's good, Yamamoto is going to be in the game as long as his arm will allow, or until Dave Roberts gets that phone call from the analytics department demanding he get him out now, or he's fired. And with the state of the Dodgers bullpen, you got to go with your best. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not. If a starter would be the first guy out of the bullpen. I'm throwing that one out, completely spitballing. Haven't read anything about it, but just with the way things are down there. Yeesh. Anyway, so don't forget Gausman was pretty good there until
he really was
until the 8th inning of that game too. So I would think that you could be in line for another good one, and the Dodgers bats are kind of so.
They
we'll
are.
See.
I mean, they keep moving Mookie Betts down in the lineup. And I heard Torey Lovello yesterday talking about this, and he said it's a real slippery slope for a manager as you start to move guys down, and he tried to sort of reverse it even as he said it and say that Dave Roberts isn't doing this, but he said sometimes when you start moving the batting order around like that, it sends a message to the team that there is some panic in the manager's chair, and you don't want this team to think you're panicking. And so he was saying, Lovello sort of couched it by saying they have so many good hitters that moving Will Smith up is almost as significant as moving Mookie Betts down and all that. The truth is it's not. I mean, you move Mookie Betts down in the lineup, and he admits it. He's like, I'm not hitting. I don't know what's wrong. I'm lost, whatever he's saying. But the reality is, yeah, they've got to hit better than they have. And I'm not sure that Kevin Gossman is a guy against whom you want to give that a shot. Now, before we move on with this World Series talk, T.O. comes through with a super chat for $10, and we appreciate you, T.O. And, we mentioned the guys we thought of as candidates for pitching coach, and those names you said, plus Jordan Teagues, possibly Dave Bush is a candidate. There's guys out there, the Jim Hickey from the Nationals got released. He's an experienced pitching coach who may well have crossed paths with Skip Schumacher somewhere along the way. But the chances are it could be somebody from Skip's past who we aren't expecting.
Right.
And I don't know. It's the interesting part, the one thing we haven't mentioned yet, they've known probably
excuse me,
for a weekish that Mike Maddux wasn't a sure thing because they've known.
They're the ones who granted the permission.
Yeah.
They opened the door.
Right. They opened the door for him to talk to the Angels. So
yeah.
They've known for a week-ish, that Mike Maddux was not a sure thing. So I wonder how deep they got into, finding his replacement just in case kind of thing.
Well, and I'm sure that they had names in mind too.
Sure.
So I would, because this is dragged on and because it's not in place, the two remaining clubs playing, Josh Bard is the bullpen coach for the Dodgers, and Connor McGinnis is the assistant pitching coach. Okay, maybe they're just waiting on that. And then on the other side of the coin, a guy named Sam Green with an E on the end, the assistant pitching coach for the Blue Jays, and Graham Johnson is the bullpen coach. So, hey, let's throw that out there.
Sure.
And then any other names, hitting coach if Booney isn't back. You always look back at the other coaching staffs, and I was mistaken here. I've kind of said this out of incorrectly. John Mabry was one of the hitting coaches in Miami for Skip, former teammate, teammate.
Yep.
The guy who, as you'll recall, picked Skip up at the airport the day that he got brought to the big leagues. He was hired in May to be a special advisor or a senior advisor to the Orioles coaching staff, not as a coach. I thought he had been hired as the coach. So anyway, John Mabry probably available.
Sure.
Because full-time major league hitting coach would be a
big
promotion
big step
from
up.
Senior advisor to the coaching staff.
No doubt. And,
so I'm now
fond of Mabry, because again, he talked about Mabry picked him up and was super cool to him and all that stuff, knowing Skip was trying to take, basically there to take his job.
Yeah, and he's been hitting coach with the Cardinals previously in his career. So this one is now making a lot of sense to me. All right, there you go.
There you go.
All right.
A couple more things.
Thank you, T.O.
Yes, we appreciate the super chat, and we appreciate you being there each day as well. Springer is supposed to play today. And what kind of shot are they giving him so he has no feeling in his oblique? I mean, I don't know. Does cortisone do that, or is it one of the others? Because you don't play 4 days after, or 3 days, whatever it's been, after your oblique. You had to leave in the middle of an at bat.
Yeah.
Your oblique hurt so bad. So, but you know what? I mean, in a way, I don't blame him. I was going to say you sure don't get this chance very often, although George Springer has.
Seems to get a lot of playoff chances.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Anyway,
maybe there's a muscle relaxer they can put in there. I do remember, Josh Hamilton played in the 2011 postseason with a sports hernia.
Yep.
And before every game, I was told he would get a shot, or the sun doesn't shine.
Ooh.
To help numb the pain of the sports hernia.
Wow.
Yeah. So there are shots, and there are places you can give them.
That might be the worst 1-2 punch I've ever.
Holy moly!
I can even imagine
Yeesh.
a shot there.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's that. We talked about this yesterday. When you're one of only 3 guys to have ever done this, it's usually not you and Bubblegum Johnson and Leather Stocking Smith. It's usually guys that we've heard of, and Vlad Guerrero Jr. has done that with his OPS this postseason. He joins only 2 other men have had better OPSs in the postseason than what Vlad has had. Jeff, Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth. Have you heard of those 2 guys?
I have, oddly enough.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're each over 12. He's right at 10?
I can't
read.
Too.
10 or 11.
It's impressive.
11, right in there.
It's good.
So,
it's good.
And I heard Tom Glavine today talking about what you do as a pitcher in a World Series when you're going to face the team a second time, within a couple of days.
Yeah.
It was a good question. I don't know who asked it. It was a good question. Do you try to be completely different, right? Because they saw you for a full game, or do you go with what you know? And he said, you know what? Every pitcher is going to be different on this. He goes, but I would go out there and I would make them prove to me that they can hit what I do best.
Right.
Right. And so, and that applies really to both Gausman and Yamamoto. Do you change anything? I mean, you were baffling them the last time. Do you really need to or want to change anything? And, again, according to Glavine, he wouldn't have. And that's, that's sort of, I think, was his advice, if you will, to those.
Yeah. And if you have good stuff, as those, the 2 guys tonight and Tom Glavine had, and you can command it, you're going to be successful. So I think that, you don't change anything because, again, what did Yamamoto retire? The final 20?
Yeah, and Gausman got 17 in a row himself at one point in that game.
Right. So, I mean, these guys are going to be good. And, it's not like they have a lot of tricks up their sleeve at this point, especially Gausman. He's tired. He's pitched he has pitched the whole season, where I think Yamamoto has too. I don't think Yamamoto got hurt this year. So they might be running on fumes. They do have an extra day before this starts, so that helps. But it's going to be interesting. And, I guess the Dodgers, a lot of them have been in this spot before.
Yes.
Or at least have played in big games. I don't know necessarily about facing elimination, but Freddie Freeman has, when he was with the Braves against the Dodgers in the 20 NLCS. So they're not going to be intimidated, and I don't think that they're going to try to go from their strengths either, although right now none of them seem to have a lot of strengths.
No, amazingly, and again, this is how frustrating would it be? But we said it all season with the Rangers, and it's one of the reasons we thought the offense would come around. But they're just in an offensive kind of funk right now. Even Ohtani, who's had some great games and some flashes of brilliance, but he was 0 for the other game. I mean, it's pretty amazing that your offense can come and go. Now, again, it often is dependent on who's pitching, and that Trey Yasevich said he's going to try to get ready for Game 6 if they need him. He's just he's a bulldog.
Today would be Yasevich's bullpen day. You know? I mean, second day after start. Yeah. If you're a second day guy, most guys are. Yep. DeGrom oddly is a third day guy, but whatever. I'm looking forward to it, and frankly, I'm ready for baseball to be over. I'm ready for the off season to start in earnest. So
yeah, we can start.
let's go Blue Jays. Let's take care of business tonight and let everybody become free agents, and then in 5 days we can start
going,
sweating it out.
Yep, start going crazy. All right, more coming up. We've got the cleanup segment and some potential news about the rich getting richer next. The DLLS Rangers podcast. And you need to become a diehard if you haven't already. Now, Jeff kindly put that story today that he published and broke the news of Mike Maddux. He put that out there for all to see. Which I think is great because what it tells people, shows people who aren't yet diehards, just the kind of great reporting we do. And again, look at everybody's social media feed and all the other baseball guys commenting on it. It's all as reported by Jeff Wilson, TXR. So it's his story. He broke it. He brought it to you. And often those types of stories will only be available behind the paywall. It's real easy to get behind said paywall, though. And it's cheap, $79.99. You're back there. You can see all the stuff that he breaks. Also, you think Clarence Hill's not breaking stuff? He is. We had our new guy. What's Ron's last name again?
Harrod.
Yeah, Ron Harrod. Yeah. He broke a big Mavs story earlier this week. We're breaking news all the time. So become a diehard. Get behind that paywall. Scan the QR code or alldlls.com/join to become a diehard today.
Yeah, and then one of the perks becoming diehard is the free T-shirt. Which one am I wearing today? I'm wearing the Cowboys flag shirt.
I got the.
John is wearing the.
What is?
That's just that's the City of Dallas flag.
Yeah.
City of Dallas flag.
Okay.
And I got the hat on as usual. So you can get all that stuff at store.allcitynetwork.com, where in addition to the free shirt, you get 20% off any additional purchases, and it's a real swell deal. And but we don't just limit ourselves to tees and this one hat. We have sweatshirts, kind of like coffee cups and flags and beer pint glasses, or if you want to put tea, that's fine. Whatever you want to do, just go to store.allcitynetwork.com and join the Cool Kids Club because we're pretty cool.
Yeah, breaking news and stuff, and also it's about to be. I think it kind of is. It was this morning, that's for sure, sweatshirt weather.
Oh, and T.O., I agree. We do need to have a DLS Rangers night at the ballpark, and I think the Rangers are open to that.
Yeah, the Rangers are, and DLLS is, and we had the big boss, the big skipper in town this week, and I feel like all those things are on the table next year, more so than they were this year based on what he was telling us. So we'll keep you posted on those types of things. So the rich get richer, and I was just waiting for this. Now, in full disclosure, this came from some Dodgers Nation, source. So
okay,
but I've been waiting for this to happen as, again, my other original loyalty, first love in baseball, the Detroit Tigers. It's apparent, it's obvious that they're not going to sign Tarek Skubal after he's with them for one more year. And as a free agent, I mean, even everybody there is like, yeah, it's just not their MO to sign a guy to this kind of contract. They've already resigned themselves, right, that they have the best pitcher in the game and they're going to have to let him go. And, of course, somebody today had it out there that the Dodgers are trying to trade for. And look, to me, it's just a matter of time before he ends up with it.
Well, that seems to be what everybody thinks. Yeah, just with anybody who's a big free agent,
big money free agent.
I don't think you can discount the two New York teams. And
Toronto now,
Toronto, sure. Toronto has a willingness to
they'll spend
the money.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I would think if the Tigers are resigned to it, they got to trade him. They really do.
I agree.
If they know they can't re-sign him, if they know they can't pony up or even make a competitive offer that would make them think twice, gotta move on. And it sucks.
It does.
But you got to do it.
And I think it was Passan that reported that the Tigers' offer was $320 million shy of what he wants, which is to say the Tigers' offer was $80 million, and he wants $400.
Oof.
But that said, I don't think. I mean, the Tigers aren't stupid,
No,
right?
they wouldn't do that.
They don't think they're going to get the best pitcher in the game for $20 million a year. So I don't. Wherever that information came from, and if it's not Jeff Passan, I'm sorry. Somebody had that number out there this morning, and it's just no way. I started to write it into the cleanup segment, and I was like, no freaking way that the Tigers. I mean, again, they may have lowballed him, but they don't think they can get Tarek Skubal for $20 million a year.
Yeah. He might give you a little break, a little hometown
break. Yeah,
but not that big of a break,
and probably not that big, not one at all. Is he a? Do we know? Is he a Boris guy?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I can probably find it real quick.
I don't know if he's a Boris guy, because if he is a Boris guy, he's definitely not giving you any kind of a hometown break.
Well, I wish he was a Wilson guy.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
Kidding.
Yeah. But anyway,
speaking of agents,
he is a Boris guy.
He is a Boris guy. So speaking of agents, this agent Jim Murray. Jeff, have you heard of Jim?
Yeah, this one's getting interesting.
How about this one? Jim Murray has been banned by the Major League Players Association for basically being, playing both sides, right?
Yeah.
Being like a double agent, a spy who's a double agent.
Yeah.
And he was an agent, and as recently as 2020, he is texting Rob Manfred and others of his lieutenants, kind of advising them, don't offer these players a full contract for 2020. They're going to take it. You know what you should do? Don't offer them the full contract. Dig your heels in, hold their feet to fire, and watch Tony, and he meant Tony Clark. The MLB Players Association president, and watch him twist in the wind. So he's been fined $100,000, Jeff, and he's been banned for 4 years from representing any players. And you know what I think? They didn't even have to say 4 years, right?
Yeah.
You have been banned from representing play. Nobody's going to take Jim Murray as their agent now.
No.
Yeah, I think I'll take the guy who works against me.
Yeah. Now, when I think of Jim Murray, I think of the old LA Times columnist.
Yeah, he was great.
Who once wrote for his lead for the Indianapolis 500, "Ladies and gentlemen, start your coffins." Pretty good lead. Tarek Skubal, by the way, is from Hayward, California, which is on the east side of the bay.
Okay.
So maybe the Giants
could be players.
Could be in
play.
play.
How about that?
I don't think it'll be the A's.
No, I don't think so either. Maybe he likes Vegas. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah. But, so anyway, Jim Murray's probably done as an agent. But who knows? Maybe he'll go work for Major League Baseball now. I like this. The month of November, which, of course, begins tomorrow, if you're a veteran, and especially, I mean, even if you're not retired, but especially if you're a retired veteran and you've never been to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York, get your butt up there on a vacation.
Yeah, what a place.
It's a great place. In November, the weather shouldn't be too terribly bad yet. It'll be chilly, but it won't be like, 10 feet of snow and all that stuff. And as a veteran, for the entire month, you get in free. And I love that the Hall of Fame does this. And they have a big Veterans Day celebration at the hall where they do all kinds of activities and things like that. And it's American, right? It's baseball. It's American.
Yeah, and if you know anything about baseball history and World War II, you know that Ted Williams and so many great players lost years of their career to the World War, and later Ted Williams even went back for Korea. Went to Korea. A lot of guys did, and one of the in code, when the U.S. soldiers, various things were speaking to each other, one of their code words was Babe Ruth.
Yeah,
and so they there's a rich tie between baseball and the military, and and Cooperstown is just so great.
So
I just love that place.
You'll probably miss up there the peak fall colors.
Yeah,
they're probably right now, or maybe were a week ago. It's spectacular up there in the fall. It's spectacular there in the summer too.
Yeah.
But in the fall, it's really, really cool when all the trees are orange and yellow and red. But either way, it's a worthwhile trip. T.O.'s saying you might need to make the trek. I didn't know you were a veteran, T.O., but thanks for your service if that's the case. And you should, because it's free. And it's worth the price at any price.
Yeah.
And we're blessed. I mean, anytime I've been, I have not ever paid. I don't know how much it is to get in. It's probably not cheap. But
I would like to go for a non-induction ceremony.
Me too.
Weekend,
that's the only time I've been there.
That's the only time I've been.
Yeah.
I've been to. I covered a TCU football game at Army, at I think it's Michie Stadium, Michie, and the
right on
West
the Hudson.
the Hudson, and the press box looks out east to the over the Hudson. It's just beautiful. It was middle October and the leaves had changed, and man, what a view!
I would love to cover a game.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is awfully cool.
The soldiers the cadets or whatever had flummoxed the TCU cheerleading staff multiple times by stealing the TCU flag.
Nice.
And then one of the TCU cheerleaders tackled the kid who stole.
A girl?
No, it was a boy.
Oh boy. Okay.
Who had stolen the flag, and boy, it pissed off the Pattersons. Kelsey and Gary were livid.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Man, they were hot. I mean, don't do that. And,
Yeah.
and Gary coached at Navy, so he kind of understands.
He understands the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, a couple of Halloween things because we haven't, the Stars crew fully embraced Halloween yesterday. I hope you saw Ludz's Hellboy. You know why Ludz did that? Because we're not allowed to cuss. So he wanted to be Hellboy. And then there was it Owen? Was Owen the traffic cone?
He was.
I think,
Owen was a
like
traffic cone.
Stanley That was
Stan-
like the whole thing. Blood's cone from Cosm and brought it back.
Oh, all right.
Stanley Cone.
Okay, yeah. So he was the Stanley Cone, and what was Sam? He was
Yosemite.
Yosemite. Yeah,
Perfect.
He was our guy.
He was Andrew Chafin?
He was Andrew
Wow,
Chafin.
that's cool.
Yeah. But anyway, here's the best Halloween costume I've seen today. This is only if you have 3 girls, but how about that guy with his 3 little girls? And it's a league of their own. There's old Tom Hanks up there drinking his beer.
That'd be triplets, right?
I would think so. That's what I was
Wow.
thinking too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. And just because we really want this team to win on a Halloween, we'll leave you with this pumpkin and say, "Go Blue Jays." And
I have one for you guys.
oh, good.
I found a little batting cleanup. Freddie ran into Freddie Freeman on the street.
Oh, this is when he was still in Atlanta. Look at that.
That's pretty fun.
That's great.
That's so cute.
Freddie Freeman's. I mean, he's such a good dude, Freddie Freeman.
Sure seems like it.
He doesn't he? Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever interviewed him, but he sure seems like a good dude. And Halloween is cool and really, I mean, I remember as a kid, like it was neck and neck to me whether I liked Halloween when I got all that candy or Christmas when I got all those presents better, right? I mean, they were 1 and 1A, man.
Yeah. What was your best costume?
Well, I won, and I did some of this last year too. I won in high school because Caddyshack came out when I was still in high school. So high school and college, I won some Carl
Okay.
costume contests.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so that was always my favorite.
Yeah. I don't know.
As a little kid, I don't know. Like I mostly got the store-bought Superman,
I went as a nerd once because I was a big fan of Revenge of the
Revenge
Nerds.
of the Nerds,
So
yeah.
I went as Louis Skolnick.
That's
So
nice.
I had the horn rims and everything.
Yeah.
And,
Pocket protector.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
and
the whole thing.
my best friend still tells this story about his mother, his late mother, God rest her soul. I went to their house to trick or treat, and their dog named Ginger, kind of like a basset hound, mix. Anyway, she bolted out the door and tripped me. And I was still a kid, but I talked to them like I do now. And I stood up and I went, God, Ginger. And his mom thought that was the funniest story funniest thing she'd ever seen.
That's not really how a nerd
Me
would
as a
handle that.
nerd
Yeah.
saying, GD, Ginger.
Not really how a nerd would
4th or
handle
5th
that.
grade, probably, not
Yeah.
great. Not a good reflection of my parenting, my parents' parenting, but
Yeah.
in any event.
Or
it
your
was
future
fun.
parenting. Yeah. All right. That's going to do it, man. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us since 9:30 this morning.
Holy moly.
And of course, if more news breaks, we'll be back with it. We're not anticipating anything big this weekend, but if things happen, we're here. That's what we do. And we're really happy to do it. And congratulations again to Jeff, who broke this story. More coming, and we'll have it all for you right here on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.